Hey, everybody. Good morning. Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me as well? Just give us a thumbs up.
I see we've got Southern Gal, Little House in the Big Woods. Welcome, welcome. Angela, Mrs. Adventures on the Homestead. Awesome. Thank you so much.
I have a question. If
Sure.
you can hear us, great. People in the chat, do you hear me breathing? Because I got a microphone and I'm a heavy breather, so I don't want you guys listening to that. I got the microphone down the other end of the house because I'm so loud.
I don't hear you breathing.
Thank you.
If anybody else does, but I hope everyone's having a great start to their week this week, in spite of all of our worldwide drama.
Ugh.
Angela said you sound great.
Thank you.
Hey, I see him. I'm going to bring up Jim.
Y'all want to hear what it was?
Yes.
How many of you have friends that take little sticky notes and put them on their camera?
No.
Okay, no, it wasn't a sticky note, but this new computer actually has. There's this new computer and it has a little switch on the top, right above the camera, and you can turn it on and off, and it covers the camera off and off.
That is awesome.
Well, golly, I was like, I could not figure out what in the world was going on.
Lisa kept saying, "Watch it be something silly. Watch it be something silly," and it was, huh?
Oh, it absolutely was. I'm glad it was. I just really was staring at that. And I was like, "What is that thing?" It's small.
Yeah.
Click.
Well, I'm one of those. I put washi tape, which is like, crafting tape.
Yeah.
I put that over the top of the camera on my work computer.
Well, it's funny because when we had the older laptop before I got this one, I mean, we had that, gosh, I think we bought that my last year at grad school. So it was like 2009.
Mm-hmm.
We had that thing forever. And it was not a MacBook, a PC or whatever, right? So it was really funny because Ryan was all paranoid, had it duct taped and everything else because he was like, I don't need to be doing this and blah, 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 because this was the days before YouTube for us. Yeah. And he's still like that. And the funniest thing was I finally had to do something with it where I needed a camera for like a Zoom call or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, and the duct tape, mind you, is from Texas. It was like Longhorns. I should have noticed it right in front of me. Anyway. Hi, everybody in the chat.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm glad you figured it out.
Me too. Me too.
So for anyone who doesn't know, this is Jim with Adventures on the Homestead, who is joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Jim. And we've got his wife, Angela, in the chat with us today, Mrs. Adventures on the Homestead.
Yes.
And I could go on. They're a family who basically moved out of the city into the country. They're homesteading. They've got young kids. Jim is a phenomenal photographer and videographer, and I've learned a lot from watching his videos. But they just have so much going on over there. Have you had your baby goats yet?
Yes, and that's actually where Mrs. My wife is. We're dropping kids around here like crazy right now.
Awesome.
So
I gotta share.
Goat kids, by the way, folks. Goat kids.
Goat kids, right?
Goat kids. Yeah.
I don't drop my kids on camera.
I was gonna say, oh my gosh, you're gonna have a tribe.
No, I already have that going. I'm done now. So.
Angela's out dropping them in the barn while she's picking up the baby kids.
We were born in the barn, literally.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yes,
I gotta share. Jim, my daughter got a goat this year. It's the first time they've had goats. And the person that she got her goat from lives right behind her. And they're like papered and supposed to give out like their bread for their milk production and all this fancy stuff. So her goat that she had, her name is Bean. And she just had babies, well, kids. And she had 5 kids. And they all lived.
Really? All of them?
Yes.
Wow.
Can you believe it? She's going to give one to her neighbor because her neighbor came over because my daughter's pregnant and she's never had to help a goat have kids before, you know? So her neighbor came over. They go to the same church too. Yeah. So it's like just such a blessing. The neighbor came over to help give birth to these kids. And she's going to give her one. She feels like she got an extra goat because that's exactly what God wanted her to do. Bless her with a goat, because how many times have you heard of a goat having 5 kids? Is that crazy or what?
That's a big goat.
Oh, bless her heart.
That's some good stock right there. I'd never heard of that. Especially, I mean, yeah, because you're going to be baby feeding for that. That's some milk feeding right there. That's a bottle feeding babies right there. So
3 girls and 2 boys too.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we have 2 boys and a girl right now out there. And we got more boys than girls, which is not good. I like to have more girls out there. We're hoping to have some more does coming, but we still have a lot of babies coming yet. So
that's awesome. And my husband's wanting me to say they're dwarf goats. I don't know what kind of goats they are. I know
Nigerian dwarf.
That's really a lot.
Maybe those.
That's a lot of. That's a record. I don't know if, I mean, that might be a record for.
I looked it up online. They said the chance is like 2% or something.
I'm serious. I'd never heard
for them to have just 1 or to have 5, because usually you're going to see 2 or 3, and then they might have 4 if you have a good, litter.
Oh yeah.
But 5, yes, we were blown away.
That's insane. I would definitely put that out there or something, because that's unique, especially Nigerian dwarfs. I mean, I was thinking like an alpine or something, like, oh, it's a big old goat, right?
I'm going to have to share pictures. I'm going to have to upload some pictures.
I would love to see those. Definitely share that, because but make that a short, because that'd be like, hey, Nigerian dwarf has 5 babies. I would be like, I want to see this.
Yeah. We didn't get the birth though, but you can see her with the 5
babies. Yeah. Wow.
Just call it goat has quince.
I'm serious. That's huge.
Okay. Really? Okay, I'll have to do that. Or I'll tell my daughter to do it. I've been bugging her to do a channel because they live off grid. They're like in a 5th wheel with 2 kids and 1 on the way, and off grid, solar generator, cistern for the water.
Hey, that's the
chickens
dream right
and goats. Yeah. The kids love it.
Congrats.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
Seriously. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Ark Wildman, Southern Gal. Who have I not called out? George Mitchell, Okie J. Good to see you all here. Pure Pondering. Thank you so much for coming. If you didn't hear, this is Jim with Adventures on the Homestead. And Jim, do you want to go ahead and just share with everybody a little bit about your family and your channel?
Yeah, absolutely. We started our channel, it'll be 2 years ago, 2 years ago this May. And we live on about 10 acres of land. And when we moved here, what is going on right now, if you check out our videos on our channel and what you see happen over the last 2 years, that was definitely not here and then. And it wasn't the goal when we bought the place. Mm-hmm. The Lord just kind of directed our path a bit to building this life that we made, and we have goats, we've got pigs, we got coonies, and we got rabbits, we got chickens, turkeys, and we got the whole 9 yards going on out here right now. And then obviously dropping babies in the farm. But we have, when I started the channel, we have, let's see, I have kids ranging from right now as it sits 2 to 17 right now, 2 years old to 17 years old. So we have about six kids all together. We all pretty much have really create a nice little life out here for them to enjoy. And it's honestly just a wonderful, wonderful blessing that we get to experience all the time. But
beautiful land. You have beautiful land.
Yes. So we were very blessed with this land. And it was really one of those things where we were actually closing on another house in the city next to everything. This is like pre-COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is before we were like, we're gonna go next to city, next to everything convenient. Like, let's go to convenience. And just out of the blue, my realtor, or I'm sorry, my loan mortgage officer, she called me and she's like, hey, I think you should look at this house. It's in your price range, and I think I think something you might want to see. And we were actually we were going to sign papers on this other house, and we ended up just coming over here. And when my wife and I walked on this property, we were like, this is ours. We want this place. And we put a deal on it and bought it. And here we are a couple years later, just living a good, wonderful dream, honestly.
You are.
So
y'all are living my dream.
Yeah, we have taken it far. But yeah, it's been a blessing. We're going in our second year now, and obviously this last year we had 2 female goats that were dropping kids, and this year we have good night. I think we had 6 out there. Ange, correct me if I'm wrong. He's always collecting goats from somewhere. So half the time I come home and there's new goats out in the yard. So, but we're definitely
welcome to Ryan's world. I told him I was getting 1 pig. I took advantage and texted him at work and said, hey, we got a problem with the pig. They can't register her. And, but she's got another. And so he was busy at work and he's like, well, then just get another one. Like, but he was kidding.
Yeah.
I texted the lady right away. I said, 2 it is.
That's awesome. That way they're not lonely too. My daughter, her 1 pig, and it stays outside, of course. So it's all by itself, and I just hate that. We always had our animals. When we had animals, we always had more than one, just so they had friends.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, Lisa.
Yeah, Sherman was a mistake in the sense that the opportunity came up and I was able to buy him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was by himself and he was just a depressed little guy.
Oh, he's so freaking precious.
He is freaking precious.
Did you see what Angela just said? Her and Jim have 9.
9 goats. See, y'all, I have no idea what's going on in the world. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Jim.
I still think there's 6 out there.
Wait till you go out tomorrow morning with all the kids.
Right?
But
I'm sorry. You were talking about pigs and I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, it's totally fine. No, I mean, like I said, I love to talk about the coonies because that's going to be, I don't know how old Sherman is on your end. I know we have Ruben and Maple and Charlotte, and I think they're going to be breeding, I think, end of this year. So that's going to be kind of, we'll kind of do the same thing with the coonies. We're going to be breeding coonies, and it's kind of just worked out the way when we first got here, there was no fencing, no barns, nothing. So I wanted everything that was like, we started with goats and the Premier one fencing because they're like, oh yeah, that'll hold them in. No, it won't.
I've heard that about goats. My kids have had to reinforce their fencing and stuff, but so far so good. And they're the little ones too. So maybe that.
We have Nigerian dwarf. Like, see, that was my thing is I want everything small. So we got the Nigerian dwarf because it's the smallest goat and they produce a good amount of milk. So we're going to go with these ones. Okay. And we thought the same thing. We'll get this fence. It shocks. I mean, it sends me flying if I touch it, and those goats they figured out, I watched them do it. They would find those little upright poles. They open their hoofs up, push it down, they'd all walk out, and then they would just follow the leader, so if it can hold in water, it can hold in your goat. So that's
why I don't have goats.
Yep.
Because my pigs, they can run around the yard all by themselves.
Yes.
And they do. Like, I don't even fight if Grant gets out because all I got to do is get a bucket of feed.
Yeah.
Sherman, I call him by name and he goes, okay. But Sherman is, he's actually 15 months old.
You do Sherman great, Lisa.
Yeah. He's 15 months old now.
Oh, wow.
And he was a year in December. And, so they say that coonies, they have, how do you say it? They mature later than a lot of the commercial breeds, but their confidence apparently is lacking. So in order to be family friendly, let's just say he's very interested, but he's not figured out which end to go to.
That's good to know, because we were like, we weren't sure when to part our boy yet, you know. So he's right now, our boy is in there with the girls, just living there, but because he hasn't no interest yet.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that's not too far away, you know. And you know what the funny thing too is, you said about goats. I mean, if I could start over, like pigs scared me when I started this whole thing. I was like, nope. Pigs are, I mean, there's just no way. But I'll tell you right now, if I started over and knowing what I know now, I would definitely start with pigs. Because pigs,
awesome.
like you said, they're simple. They are very simple. They're clean. If you go to my goat barn, it's nasty. Okay, you go to my pig barn, that sucker is clean and it is nice and neat.
Okay, I've got defective pigs.
Yeah.
Because they've all decided that in the wintertime, they've all decided that that's where they all want to go to the bathroom. I'm convinced Sherman lays there and just does this thing. Anyway, I digress. I know we need to talk about goals. But Sherman has managed to get around to the right end of them. I just wanted to update you on that. He does get around to the correct end, but he hasn't figured out that he needs to mount them.
Uh-huh.
Gotcha. All due time, sir. All due time.
That's right.
Good morning to a couple more folks we got in the chat. Shed to House Conversion, welcome. Abundant Acres Homestead, welcome, and congratulations on y'all's shed wars. Tennessee Tactical One and Mickelson Family Homestead, welcome you guys. Digging for Health, so happy to have you here. Heather, I'm going to give your name my best shot. Langager, I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're here with Adventures on the Homestead, and I'm going to share the banner for our 7 F's of goal setting: faith, family, friends, finances, fitness, fun, future. And Jim, you've been sharing with us a lot about your homestead and the things you guys got going on there. Can you talk to us about some of the goals you guys have for this year?
Yeah, so goals this year. The last 2 years with everything going on, we set our goals for the Hail Mary. We were really just throwing it way out there and really diving in and just really, I mean, not exhausting ourselves too much, but you know, we were definitely pushing ourselves the last couple of years to get as much sufficiency from the house as we could.
Yeah.
Our first year, we bought a couple 100 pounds of meat in just with our chickens alone. And we really did succeed a lot to fill up 3 freezers of food, and we were really eating off a lot of our own food. Mm-hmm. This year we changed. Once we changed tactics, but we're leveling out a little bit. One of those things I like to do is like to see how far we can get, and then see how we can level it all out and have a good a good balance.
Yeah.
And this year we're going to be. Our goals are a little bit more into the business side of things. Now that we have our goats, we have LLC'd our farm to breeding goats and to breeding coonies, and as well as breeding. You know, we're establishing ourselves as reputable breeders. Mm-hmm. So that is something that we'll be focusing on this year. We have some. I mean, as far as the farm and whatnot, there. As far as bringing in any new animals on my end, there are no new animals coming to the farm this year that I'm aware of. So just don't hold that for gospel, but we aren't planning on bringing any new animals in this year. We're going to be really bringing the rabbits as our continual meat source this year and whatnot. And obviously we'll be kind of keeping our garden. Angela's already got plants going there, so we're excited about that on the farm. Mm-hmm. As far as personal, I mean, we have a lot of personal goals as far as I started another business as well. On top of the farm, we're starting a media business as well. Mm-hmm. And that's exciting to get started in. So, and we have a few films we'll be working on this year that I'm really excited about. So yeah, we got some good goals we're setting, and we're excited to embrace the year, I mean, just attacking it. So
that's awesome. You mentioned a lot of things. How are you guys tackling staying on top of those and keeping everything balanced?
Small steps.
Angela, he knows them.
My wife.
Your wife always has new plans.
Yes, She does. I can tell you right now, there's always Angela is my adventure. So
Yeah. That's like me and my husband too. He's like, wait, what is this Shed Wars? What are you getting into? Because I joined, the Shed Wars for gardening.
yes,
I did that, and he knows he's going to have to help me do some stuff. I mean, I'm going to do, I'll be kind of running all the plans and whatnot, but he's like, what did you sign me up for? That's him. And I want to get like meat birds or meat rabbits. And I told him I will clean them myself. But what I know about my husband is if he sees me trying to do something, he's not going to stand there and watch me do it. I know he's going to help. He can't help himself. That's his personality. Yes. So I hear you, Angela. That's plan too.
Yeah, yep. That's very true. Like Angela, when we started, I think, Angela's always had this sufficient from home mentality. I didn't come on board. I mean, like you said, your husband, like, he's helping. I will help my wife. Yep. I'm not going to, I built her plenty of things out there and done plenty of projects. When we first moved up here, she's Texan. So she's not used to winters. I'm from Michigan. I understand the North.
Yeah.
My first time up here, Angela, we had I don't know what, I can't remember why. Maybe she'll probably say in the chat. She had this idea that we needed to work on the chicken coop and build it up for the spring. It was January, February, y'all. I mean, this is not something you just start building on. She's like, I think we need to go ahead and get this coop so I want to bring chickens in. And she was thinking about bringing chickens in February to the place. And she had me out there, freezing cold, negative temperatures, building a chicken coop.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, those were good days. But, we eventually, the way the Lord worked things out, I did come on board. When I came on board full blast with her. And it's ever since then, it's been quite the adventure. But yes, I mean, she has some good memories she definitely could share.
Yeah.
Ryan tells me all the time, like when I come up with these great ideas, because, he just looks at me and he goes, or he just sits there. And don't get me wrong, he's an amazing human being. I don't want to paint him that way, but like I have big dreams, And it's funny because he'll just sit there and he'll say, "Did you do the research?" And I go, "Yup." And he's like, and he'll talk about things, and we really went back and forth about goats. And I'm going to be honest with you here. You talked about the goat barn stinking. Our feed barn was on the property and was a goat barn that was never cleaned, I'm convinced. And I took weeks to get that cleaned out because it stunk.
Yeah.
And I vinegared it. I did all that stuff. I power washed the inside of it. I did. And it was really funny because every time goats came up, he looked at me and he's like, "You remember the feed barn?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, we're done." But every time I bring up an animal, he's like, "Well, what about the pigs? How about more pigs?" And then I turn around and I say, "Well, we're going to breed the pigs." And he's like, "What if we can't sell the pigs?" I'm like, "Well, we're going to eat a lot of pork." These are the conversations that go on at my house. Do you have those conversations?
Yes. That literally is verbatim to the conversations here. I totally feel that because it's like, you're a supportive husband. You're like, yeah, I'll support you. But your brain's thinking differently than her brain. Her brain's already got the plans, the whole thing laid out. You're over there trying to catch up.
Possibly with holes.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have the plan, but maybe there's something we didn't think of that you guys would think. That's my husband.
Yes. It's good to have a team. It's good to have a team thought process. Yeah. I've learned one thing is not to get in my wife's way. I really try, and I say that in a good way. Like she's got a lot of good. I respect her wisdom and her knowledge, and then she also in return respects mine. But I also know I'm too reserved, so a lot of times I will embrace that adventure with her because hey, you know what? We fall together, and we can all pick it back up. So.
Well, I mean, God says the two become one. Like we're obviously just a half a person to begin with. Right. I mean, if you kind of think that through. So that's me and my husband are an excellent team. And Lisa and Ryan are an excellent team I love that the dynamics work out that way for all of our different personalities.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you guys, so when I sat down and did my 7F goals of what, all the goals I wanted for the year and kind of put them into the different areas of the 7Fs to see what was I missing, what was I not thinking of, was I going to zone in on one thing and then other things were going to fall apart, because that's what I have to watch myself for. I can hyper focus like nobody's business.
Yes.
I can, you know what I mean? And so I sat down with mine, and then I sat down with my husband, because he's like, you really want me to write all this down? And I'm like, yeah, come on. And so I found out that we had a lot of the same things on our list, but we had them in different places. Like
Yes.
one thing that was kind of important to note, like what I had for fun, he had it up under family.
Yeah.
Because to him it was that much more important. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you find, like, with you guys' goals, is there any that are like that you guys agree are like a priority for the year, and or have you found any like discrepancies in where you prioritize things?
So what we do, like Vance and I are pretty good. We're different. We're good at, we have the same mindset as far as how we want to attack our goals together. Like she knows, like she started a business this year. I started a business this year. Okay. So our goals are always like, okay, we this is the steps we got to do. And a lot of times she's really good at being right there. Like, how are you taking those steps? How is that going? So one thing that, like you said, is hyper thinking about it. Really, a lot of times what happens is we think so much about so many things and we do none of them. You know what I mean? That is the absolute worst thing. Why? Because you overwhelm yourself before you even start. You literally overwhelm yourself before you even start.
Have you ever heard that saying? My wife spent all day on Pinterest looking for a recipe, and she made a salad in a jar.
Yeah, that's true. It's so true. You know?
Oh, I am so glad Ryan's not home right now. Because Mama don't like to cook. She will, but I hate to cook. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And it's funny because, you know, he'll say things like, gee, because now I'm retired and I'm home, and he's like, we had a deal. You were supposed to cook. And I'm like, can we go get pizza?
Yeah.
And he's like, you were on YouTube all day. You think you could have looked up a recipe?
Yeah.
I wanted to, Tennessee Tactical One said, what about if you're alone on the journey? And Jim, I just wanted to let you know, because you're not usually with us. Yes. I'm not being rude on my phone. I'm monitoring the chat, just so you know.
No, you're all set. No worries. But yeah, no, I like what he said there about being alone on the journey. See, that's, my wife was very much, and I wouldn't say like, she did everything. Like, she ordered the chickens, I picked them up. You know what I mean? I was like, because I'm going to be supportive that way. But like, she did a lot, but she did everything within the capacity that she could do it in, right? We didn't bring on goats and pigs and barn. Why? Because that was not capacity that she could handle. So if you're doing things alone, don't grow outside your capacity, because you're going to overwhelm yourself. You know what I mean? Grow to the best of what you have within what you have. And that right there, that wisdom right there will help you really to flourish. Flourish well. I promise you, if you overstretch thinking I have to do this, this, and this, and this to be successful, I promise you, you'll be successful in none of them, because you're going to stretch out so far that you will not accomplish what you want to accomplish. And a lot of times you overwhelm yourself before you even start. And that is we think we got to make these ultimate things happen before we can be successful. That's not true. Small steps make a big difference. Small steps make a big difference.
Dang.
And breaking them into chunks. I like to break them into chunks, Jim, because I am one of those people that wants to do like everything. I want to learn the mandolin. I want to learn the fiddle. There's songs I want to learn on the guitar that I already know how to play, right? Like I want to garden. And this year I'm so excited because I want to get Lisa did some awesome hydroponics videos. Anybody who is wanting to garden and they want it to be easy and they want it to be something that uses less water, maybe a small space, go check out her hydroponics videos. Check her out. Look at this. She's going to eat that.
Yes.
Some food.
I am growing baby bok choy. Gosh, I can't wait till the new headphones show up. I am growing hydroponic baby bok choy.
Nice.
This is in a mason jar. Here, wait. I got to be careful. Look at those roots, baby.
Wow.
And if you go in her video, she tells you all the reasons why you should try it.
Yes.
For me, what really sold me was the fact that it looks doable. I think hydroponics, I think like a water table, like with fish or something, right? Maybe a pump circulating the water. Seriously, Lisa, that's what I thought.
Pumps, yes. A lot of people think pumps, and there
Yes.
are methods like that.
Yes. And so it seems so unreachable for me, I guess, like too difficult, like too complicated. And then I saw her method, but it uses 98% less water.
Oh yeah.
I got any dry desert dwellers here? Like, I know there's people that whose channels I follow, who follow my channel, that are living here in Arizona like me. They're on hauled water. We get our water hauled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and we have to worry about how much water we use anyways.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm going to try that and just all kinds of things. It's so fun.
And I think that's the other thing, because Tammy and I were talking last night, you know, is one of the things is not to be afraid.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I said in my video was that, you know, growing tomatoes, the mason jar is not going to work because look at the root system for a bok choy.
Right.
Yep.
Could you imagine a tomato that's in there for a few months? Right?
Yeah.
I'm starting cherry tomato seeds today indoors, and I'm going to get me a 5-gallon pail. I'm going to try to make my own net pot, which is this.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't have to buy more.
Lisa, the whole time you told me you was putting a tomato in a 5-gallon pot, I thought you meant with dirt.
No.
Oh my goodness. Am I slow or what?
You weren't paying attention to our conversation last night. I'm joking.
Her brain was
well, Bunky and the girls at the Vineyard Chicks use those coffee containers, and Tammy and I were debating about color for the bok choy. But anyway, I'm going to start them in the smaller ones and then move them to a larger 5-gallon bucket, and if I need to, a 55-gallon drum in my house. Ryan's going to love this. But I'm on a quest to prove that you can grow stuff inside. That's because we live in a cold climate. Like, I didn't do Shed Wars for a lot of reasons, but one of which is I have, you know, growing season is 2 months.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
2 months, if I'm lucky, right? Yeah. Well, this is an alternative, and that's one of my goals this year is try to grow more inside all year. I've got a pellet stove right here.
Yeah. And
clearly I've already seen on the table, this was the one closest to the pellet stove. I had to move it to the other side because the other ones were not getting that heat. So in addition to the heat mat, the full spectrum and all that, you know, so it's turning out really good.
Now I know what my wife will be doing this year.
You're welcome.
Can't wait.
I am super excited. I got my husband. I told him, you need to watch. Here, honey, watch this video. It's on hugelkultur. Here, honey, watch this video. It's on making swales. Anybody curious what a swale is? SWALE. Go look it up. It's pretty cool. I'm thinking about trying that out here. Growing methods, right? Because we got to figure out how to work with what we have.
Exactly.
Right. In all things, in gardening, with our environment, in ourselves, with what do we do the things that we have the skill set for. And, you know, that's how we're a team too. But,
yes, 100%. I think that's so important. Like I said, it's so important just to know you're like people, we don't know our limits. And a lot of times there's so many people out there that are fantastic creators. They just don't know it yet. The problem is we overwhelm ourselves so much that we don't start. And there's so many people out there, like I promise you, they just have so much to share and so much to give this world. They never end up getting to that point, and they just, mainly because they just have they think they gotta take all these big steps, and you know the best thing to do. I promise you, grow within what you have.
Yeah.
Grow with
if you don't know the steps, figure out the steps, because I gotta shift. I gotta do a little shift here, and a plug for you, Jim. If anybody has not gone over to follow Adventures on the Homestead, y'all need to go check him out. When I first saw your channel, Jim, I was like, how does this person not have 10,000 subscribers? The quality of your videos is amazing. And it's all about the YouTube algorithm, right? Like, that's why you don't have 10,000 subscribers yet.
Right.
But you guys, he is amazing. And I have a couple of things that I hope you wouldn't mind speaking to, Jim.
Sure.
So when I talk about, he was just saying, start with the steps. Don't, try to go and do the big thing. And so when you did the B-roll showdown, I had no clue what a B-roll was. I legit was like, what the heck is a B-roll? I didn't know. I had to go look it up. I watched your video, and then I did more research, and I gave it my best shot. I always wanted to do one of them videos where they showed people making like coffee or tea on the stove. Like, I always thought that was awesome. And I drink such a wide arrangement of herbal things. I thought it would be fun. So I did that, and I want to get better, and I'm not quite sure what the next step is. So I just keep watching you and waiting for that next step. So can you speak to, like, when you see all of our community's homesteading videos, where do you feel like, how do I put this? Where do you feel like we all kind of collectively, like, number one area that most people could plan on if they wanted to set a goal? Because I'll bet you a lot of people that are watching who have a channel are like, I want to have a goal of putting out better videos. That's what I want to do. That is so general. We don't know, like, how to really get there. If I failed photography in high school, okay, legit. And I was an honors student. So I almost a 4.0 grade average until I took photography. I failed it. I couldn't get anything to turn out with one of those, old-fashioned cameras with the film and stuff.
Right.
So it's not something that just comes natural to me. I do have to work in it. So I'll stop talking because I ramble. Can you speak to some of what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, this is a good example. Okay. So we all know, I'm guessing, if you know the chat, I had an opportunity, back when I first started my YouTube channel, and I don't talk about too much, but I actually had the opportunity, if you all know Josh Thomas from the Homesteading family, I actually had an opportunity to talk to him on the phone. And when I was first started, he was actually giving me pointers on my YouTube channel and just talking to me. It was really an awesome conversation, but it really paved the way for me. Just that one conversation, because it was a lot. I was sharing some personal things with him on a different level but he called me and we talked, and he's a good man of faith, and we had a good time. Now, if you look at Josh Thomas's channel, it's very instructive. It's very, very, like, you go there, you're learning point. It's very, very good. It's very good information. Now let's take another channel. Let's go to Justin Rhodes' channel. Okay. Justin Rhodes is very storyteller. He's very, just everything is lively. Everything is moving from one to the next. And it's just this whole video that people are like, just watch his life. And both channels portray a wonderful, like, do a good job. One's telling stories, but teaching, and then one is teaching as well. Now, when I was talking to Josh, he said there's people that have different types of gifts. Some people are storytellers, and some people are just really good teachers.
Okay.
And what I would always say, if you're saying the next step is, when we talk about growing within your realm, some people have, like you said, that knack. Like, there's some people that I didn't have a 4.0 grade average. I didn't have that knack for it. Now, I was slower learning through that process, but art was always my jam. I was great at art. I loved artistic stuff. I was always about it. And so when it comes to certain things with photos and photographies, my eye catches things, and my eye catches a story like, that'd be a fun story to tell. But when I'm talking to, my biggest thing is, like, everybody out there, and especially our community, everybody's got their niche, if you will. Like, they're specific that they, they're teaching on something, or they, like, we have something specific to that person. I always tell people, take what you have and make the best of it. The best thing you can do is, like, is some people are wonderful teachers. I want to learn, watch them because they're so good at teaching. And then sometimes they want to maybe, I know, like, for instance, Josh Thomas, he wanted to up his video a little bit. He did actually want to improve his videography a little bit because I'm so into teaching. He says, he actually got paid for someone to teach him how to do more videography stuff so he could show more of his family, more interest. And as he did that, he started to grow more to a different percentage of audience that he was reaching out to. So I always tell people this is that, you know, don't look at somebody else, because comparison is definitely going to throw you out. But what can, you know, how can you be more interesting? Like, hey, I want to tell you a story and I want to teach you something, but how can I teach you that interestingly? You know, how can I make that more interesting? Whether it is, sometimes it's seeing something like a special transition, or seeing something that's like, you know, unique about you. Like sometimes, like, you know, if I watched you every day and I watch you teaching something every day, and then all of a sudden one day you take me for a drive. I think one of the coolest, I think one video, Lisa, one time you took us for a drive in your truck and we were just going for a drive. It was the coolest thing for me. I honestly felt like I was sitting with a friend and you were taking us on this drive through your town, which is beautiful. I love the state. And, you know what I mean? But the idea is that you're taking us on an adventure, taking us on a story, but, you know, not everything has to be special effects and fun transitions. Sometimes it's just a matter of how you tell the story to the best of your capability. You know what I mean? Like what makes you, what is interesting about you, and how do you exploit that and share that with someone else? You may not be Josh Thomas is not Justin Rose. Justin Rose is not Josh Thomas. I want different things from each one. I don't go to Justin Rose looking for what I would get from Josh Thomas. And I don't go to Josh Thomas's channel looking what I would get from Justin Rose. So I really would say grow your channel and grow your style and your niche to your flavor. Make it your flavor, because that's how I am. I love sharing my stories and myself, but I love to make it my flavor. I don't want to just copy somebody else. I want to be, this is me. This is who I am, you know? So
I appreciate that feedback, because that's what I try to do. I could sit there and I can figure out all these things, right? And it's going to frustrate me on the back end. And that's not me.
Right.
That's just not me.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you know, and that's why I appreciated your feedback, but I can tell you, we got a comment this morning on our turkey nesting boxes, and somebody literally just said, "Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm going out to build them now." And that's me.
Yeah.
Like, I want somebody to look at something, and even though I don't do step by step and all that, because let's face it, if you're a homesteader, you've got some kind of skill.
Yes. Right.
So, but we gave you the idea, we gave you the design, you saw how we did it, you can pause it, all that kind of stuff, because I'm not a teacher.
Yep.
But that's the thing. I mean, somebody watched it and said, "Hey, this is what I want. This is perfect." To me, that's mission accomplished.
Yes. Yes. That is so true. Like I said, I think that sometimes we think if we're not so-and-so, then we won't. We're like, okay, we're not going to ever create. The truth is you're going to reach. I know one thing I noticed about our community is I've enjoyed more of our community of just in growing that, because it's personal. I get to talk to you face to face, and I get to learn from you. And I'll be honest, when I first started homesteading, I was a part of the Abundance Plus membership, which is Justin Rhodes' membership, the whole thing for a year. Now, I have nothing against the guy. The guy's fantastic. But after a year, I got off. Why? Because all my knowledge was right here. There was all the people I could talk to, text them, message them. And I think the most important thing is don't overwhelm yourself with, hey, I'm not so-and-so. Because, first of all, I'm going out there with a very, very expensive camera, filming my stuff, and I have a very, very expensive setup. But I also do that for a business. So that's something that I just enjoy. I tell people all the time to use your cell phone. Learn if you want to improve your quality, sure, learn a few settings that improve your quality. If you want to have a little fun with transitions once in a while, have at it. But you have fun with it. Don't stress over it. If it's stressing you out, I promise you, if it's stressing you out, it affects you personally, and your viewers will also see that it's stress. You got to have fun with it. When I'm doing filming, I'm just having fun. That's it.
That's a good point that you mentioned, because that the other day I released a vlog and my head was pounding.
Right.
Pounding. And I didn't want to sit there and say my head was pounding.
Right.
Because really that wasn't what it was all about. But, you know, I could sit there and I could feel it, even though I wasn't seeing it. I could feel it, that people are going to be like, "What's wrong with her?"
Yeah.
So I ended up saying, "Hey, look, I'm just feeling under the weather. Sorry, I'm all over the place." And I left it at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you know, and because I just give the best of what you can. You know what I mean? I've tried before where I pushed out videos like, well, I'm going to push out videos. The algorithm says I got to do this, this, and this, and this. Let me tell you, I've done everything the algorithm says. And
there's an algorithm somewhere?
Algorithm changes, you know?
Oh, okay. You mean like what you figured out the algorithm was?
It's always changing.
It's not like written down somewhere.
No, here's the thing. I promise you this. If you go on YouTube and say 2022 algorithm explained.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I promise you, you'll get somebody explaining how it's different. But the thing is, it always changes. We're going through a thing right now. We got a note saying that they're cleaning up our channel, meaning they're getting rid of all the bots on our channel. So for every subscriber I get, that gets knocked down. So if I gain 5 right now, by the chances are by the time this is done, 5 will be gone. So
that's awful.
I know it's a pain in the rear. So, but you just keep doing what you got to do. Like I said, just keep creating, having fun with it. And you know what? I mean, I've made some wonderful people in the process, and I've enjoyed it. So you just got to keep doing it.
We do see that too, but I don't. It does seem like if you get a whole bunch at once, that it's like they think you're up to something nefarious, and so they take things away.
Yes. And people are up to that. That's the reality.
It's very true. It's crazy when you start seeing how nuts it is. When I first started, I was getting 300 views a video in a week. And at first, I was doing really good. Like, it was just one of those things. Like, it was growing, and all of a sudden, boom, everything shut off. And I was like, what happened? And then now it's this wave of things that happen. You know what I mean? And you start realizing, and it's because they're locking it down. I've written YouTube and asked them, like, hey, can I have an explanation? And like, oh, it's in our guidelines. And the truth of the matter is, I'm small potatoes in their book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, when it comes down to it, here's a big question: why are you creating content? Why are you creating content? Are you creating content because you want big subs and people to praise you? Because if that's the case, you're creating content for yourself. You know what I mean? And if you're creating content for others, then just create content for others. And you know what? Meet people, enjoy people. I've met some wonderful people since this past several months, and just keep doing it.
I love that you shared that too, because that is one of the things that draws me to people's channels is their personalities, their genuineness. I really like what you see is what you get with a person. You know what I mean? Like, and we don't have one thing that we do for our channel. We share our life. That's what we do. We just share the things that we do that we think somebody might be interested in seeing, or that I want to make sure my kids can see.
Yes.
Right. So they can know how I made certain things or whatever.
Yeah.
And we do it for that reason. And we have made the most wonderful friends here. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you thought about, and I don't know that like the details of how many subscribers you have to have in order to do this, but have you thought about creating a membership on your channel where part of the membership might be maybe you'll give a critique of their video once a month? And I don't know that anybody, I think a lot of people would be interested in that because Jim, so here's the deal. I'm not a great photographer. You know what? I'm not a great a lot of things. That's just the truth of it. I'm not. But I'm like a Jane. I think of myself as like a Jane of all trades. Like I have, knowledge in different things, but there's somebody out there that's going to know more than me, or, sing better, play better music, write better songs, have a better garden. I mean, there's always going to be, but I'm not competing with people. I'm competing with myself.
Right.
And I would love to have be like, hey, can you critique this video for me? And have you look at it from like an artistic perspective and say, and we're asking for it. We're asking for constructive. I'm somebody who really likes that constructive feedback, to where you can say, I would have made your lighting better. Try this. I would have started out slower. Maybe I would have added a few more what kind of stuff. I'm just thinking of stuff. I know
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Doing that.
So like this is something that got really it was a big hit for us too, is like, is me sharing more of the camera stuff. I actually put a question out and said, hey, look, I mean, I love sharing. So there's two knowledges that we have. If you want homesteading, gardening, and all the good farming and animal knowledge, you're not coming to me. You're coming to my wife. My wife is the brilliant one. She's the mastermind, and I really try to portray. So when I do videos, I like really involving her. But my wife, my Angela, she likes to be all gorgeous at all times on the camera, and sometimes I'm a guy like, hey, honey, here's my camera. Let's start videoing right now. She's like, I am not ready for this right now. So, but the thing is like, she has so much knowledge I want to share. So I love to share that. But to answer your question on my end, like camera and filming, that is my passion. That is like, I love doing it. And it's something that just drives me to do. It's just fun, and this year, I set a new thing out where I'm doing commercial products and product photos for some of the
saw
people
that.
do that, right? So I wanted that opportunity, and we have a good few in, and I'm actually starting the pictures in the process now. It just took too longer to get in, but you know,
Hang on. Before you go on, I'm not sure if everybody knows what you're talking about, so I want to tell them.
Yes.
So Jim did a video. You need to go over to his website to see, but he basically said, hey, I will make anybody who has products that they sell, I'll make a commercial. And there was some guidelines, I think, for being considered, and he's going to pick one. I'm not sure about deadlines and stuff, so you might even want to give some of those details.
Yeah.
I entered.
Did you?
I got cooties here. We can do pictures.
I told him, I said, I want you to make a commercial for marketing my pigs.
Yeah, I will do it too. I tell you what, I will do it. I will. We will make this happen, Lisa. I promise you, I'll make this happen. It's fun.
That sounds cool. I can post it on Craigslist everywhere.
Oh yeah, I could. It's 15, 30 seconds, you know, and the value I give, because that's one of the business I'm starting is I'm doing a where I'm making product commercials and product photos. My brother he's already in the media business world himself, so we're looking at doing that. So I wanted to take something that I enjoy doing and giving it back to the community. That was really what I wanted to do, because the value that I'm going to offer back is going to be magazine worthy, you know, social media work, something you can do to help you out. So, but like the answer to the question about, you know, critiquing others, I really have thought about many things. Like I said, I got many ideas. Like, okay, what would people want? Because I don't want, like, one thing I would say is, you know, it is a I want to keep the niche to homesteading, but people are really wanting the camera more. So it's like, well, do I just start a whole new channel, or do I, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I've thought about, you know, what I could do and how I could do it. And so far I've just kept it all in one channel because it's worked for me, you know what I mean? But I have thought that, you know, of adding those ideas in, people wanting to, you know, I got several ideas, but yes, I have considered it, but I wouldn't make anybody pay for it, all like that. It'd just be something that, hey, let's want to have fun. Let's just do this. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like you could have different levels of subscriptions if they joined. Like I'm just shooting out some ideas out there. Like if they joined, they, you know, get a critique once a month. I mean, if it's something that's fun for you, and you could probably, like, you know, do it lickety split too.
I guess in a way, I guess in a way, I never thought myself like critiquing other, because I see people like, hey, you guys are doing. I see people doing better. Like, oh, this content's amazing. But I guess at the same time, I mean, it's not something I wouldn't overlook it. Let's put it that way. If it became a demand that high, I've had a lot of questions on it. It's just one of those things like, do I just start another channel for people to be able to feed into that, or do I just keep it right here? So that is the roads I'm at right now. What to do with that? Yeah.
Well, just a suggestion for you.
Absolutely.
I'll bet you there'd be people that would be interested, because I think that my videos are, you know, my own style of how I do it, my own personality. Sometimes I put a little more thought into it than others, like when we had that snowstorm. But, you know, it's all me, but I do want to have a video that people enjoy watching, and I edit it to the best of my ability. But if I knew of something that maybe I could improve a little bit, you know, when I'm showing the garden or teaching a gardening thing, which I'll have to be doing twice a month now for Shed Wars, or if I'm making some herbal medicine in the kitchen, or, you know, whatever, or we're just hiking in the woods, those ones. So the hiking in the woods thing, I have some pretty good ideas for how to make that a little better. But the other ones, I'm kind of like, geez, I don't know. Here it is, guys.
And like I said, that goes back to what I was saying before. It's just like I said, you just gotta be you, because a lot of people, it's just remember what are they coming to you for? You know what I mean? And just sometimes I promise you, there's so many people out there that they don't give two flying behemoths about the content. You know, they just want to watch it.
Yes, and you're right about that, because I certainly don't go to people just because of the quality of their videos. I really go to people because of the quality of their heart. And if I'm watching, like, you know, videos, and YouTube always wants to forward me to somebody who's got like 1 million subscribers, and I'm sure they have great videography, but the truth is I'll stop it and I'll go watch one of our friends, because
it's more personal.
It's more personal, and I'm looking for that, you know, more personal connection there. So 100%.
we have, I put in the chat for questions, but I know this is not 7F related, but Tennessee Tactical wanted to know how long before a blueberry bush would produce. Does anyone know?
Oh, Angela, where you at, darling? We have blueberries out there. And I think like how old it's got to be. I think it's got to be a couple years old. I thought. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the technical answer. I just know that my dad had one and the bush didn't look good for a while, but after like 4 years, that sucker started producing like none other.
We bought like, I think 30. I think we bought 32-year-old bushes last year and put them behind the greenhouse last year.
Nice.
And they produced, we got, they're small. They're 2 years old. We probably got like a few cups out of them.
Nice. Does anybody have any questions for Jim? 2 to 3 years, Heather said. Wendy at Hard Neck says 2 years. So there you go.
Oh, look at that. I answered a question. My wife would be proud of me if she's in here listening.
So I need to buy blueberries that are 5 years old for me to be good.
Yes. Oh, goodness. We got the vineyard chicks in here. Hello, vineyard chicks. They're our neighbors. They don't live far from us.
Yep. Yeah, Wendy, Ryan planted blueberries and raspberries. He ordered them online. They sent us to him at the right time to plant them. We planted them. We've got them all set. So
dang it. I wish we could grow blueberries. I've heard that berry bushes take a lot of water, which is why, like, we have, you know how you've got like your Oregon grapefruit that gets berries, and we have algerita is what Arizona's version of that is, and it doesn't get any berries.
Well, you need to get the wild Maine blueberry kind because those things grow on rocks.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Really?
What you need to do is look up what grows in your area, like fruit bushes, fruit trees, because I've done that.
Okay. I'm going to look up those blueberries.
But I really like the points that you brought up, Jim, about, just being yourself and all that. And that's, I tried something different last week and it's funny. People want the other stuff. So,
and nothing wrong with that. I think it's always good to try something new. You know what I mean? I do it all the time because you don't know what percentage you got to think. If you're going to grow, you might get a different percentage of people that like certain things,
Well, and that's what I figured was like, it's still me because I'm not fancy filming. It's just me, but right. I just did it in a different format. And, it went well, but it's funny because that's why I'm doing cherry tomatoes now in my hydroponics. We're going to bring it to the next level.
Heck yeah. You need to show us how you do that too when you do it.
For sure.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody keeps saying about the freeze dryer, and I'm like, I need to figure that out a little and get used to it before I do it. Yeah, we've used it, but it's like
we need to buy one. Andrew's ready for us to buy one, so
worth it. I put cucumbers in there and made cucumber chips with seasoning.
There you go.
And they were good.
I mean, it's a great way to go. I mean, seriously, the amount of storage space that saves. Yeah, definitely an investment. So
yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait to get one for ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, with your family, absolutely.
I got 3 older boys that literally eat me out of house and home. So I say that, but I got 2 younger boys. My youngest one never stops eating. My 2-year-old never stops eating at all. So
how many kids do you guys have all together again?
So I have, hold on. 5 boys, 1 daughter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That little girl's never going to be able to date anybody.
She can hold her own.
That's awesome.
It's going to take a real tall man to bring her up. So we're definitely blessed. We definitely got a good crew of good crew of kids here.
You do. You've got good kids. You've got a beautiful family.
Oh yes, I'm really surprised that they let me talk to y'all this long and not been in here.
Oh, you're going to go out there and they're going to be up to all kinds of something.
They're right here on the other side of the wall, right here. They're just like here. They're fighting over something, but it's okay.
You better be careful because you totally can have mutiny on the Bounty.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
There's only 2 of you.
That's very true.
Does anybody have any questions for Jim before we end our live today? I'll look at the chat like as if they're looking back at me. So if you see me looking like that, that's what I'm doing.
That's all right. When I'm doing a live and I'm in the kitchen, everybody's like, all right, everybody, we're going to go. And I go, okay, bye. And I'm like, no, you got to type.
Later. Keeps us connected.
Oh.
Yeah. Came in for a moment.
How about you, Lisa? You got any questions for Jim?
I don't. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on with us today. I'm glad that we figured out the camera problems because it's great to see your face. I'm glad Angie was in the chat with us, and it was a pleasure to have you.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much, Jim.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you sharing your goals with us and letting me pick your brain some too.
Absolutely. Anytime. I love those questions, y'all. And for me, they're the funnest. That's my passion. So those things are enjoyable and fun for me. So anytime, anywhere, everybody can answer. I've had people email me, so same thing. So I'm always available for questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Just a reminder, next week on Tuesday the 15th, we will be on Lisa, her channel, Yogi Hollow Farm. If you're not already subscribed to her, hop over there and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when that live is up. But it'll be same time, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
And who we having on the channel next week?
That is going to be Gail's Southern Living.
I knew that. I was just giving you a hard time.
Got my notebook right next to me. I've been taking notes while Jim's been talking. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Jim, we sure enjoyed visiting with you today and for you to share all of your knowledge with us. I hope everybody has a blessed rest of your week.
And you as well. Thank you.
We'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.